Spags, we finally made it. It is Friday. We have football, we have news, we have drafts to cram in before the wild card slate tomorrow.
Yeah, there is a lot to get to on this show, but we are going to continue to march forward here with our wild card previews. We got to talk about some injuries. Looks like maybe no James Conner, definitely no CEH, and a lot of other guys coming back into action. Surprisingly, we're also going to do our last underdog playoff best ball draft. We've been having a lot of fun doing those, so we're going to make this one really count. We got ride or die picks for all the wild card games. And oh, yeah, Nana Pete coming here to give us that sage wisdom that she always brings. So, Pete, let's hit that intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Splash Play, the fantasy football podcast for every game under the sun. And once again, I am Chris Spags, joined by your friend and mine, Peter Overzet. Pete, how are you doing on this fine Friday?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling a little stretched in a lot of directions, just lots of stuff. We got our FFPC lineups we're trying to put together. I've tried to get more underdog drafts in. I was just doing a bunch of TOC stuff. They have 2 playoff contests. I'm getting ready. I need to get stuff ready for Showdown crams this weekend. So just like action flying all over the place.
Do we have a TOC pack that we can give away today?
Yeah. And it was just however we wanted to do it. But I do have a TOC pack to give away.
All right, so here's what I'm going to propose. And then, Pete, you can push back on it if you want. But as you've seen here, Pete doing the Owners Club NFTs here, a fun game that honestly, Davis and Pete talking about it yesterday got me intrigued as well. So you guys can get in on the mix here. And what I'm going to propose, Pete, is we give this away to this episode's chat MVP. So the person who we think has really shown a level above everybody else out there, who's really supported us, gotten us through here, I think that's the one who gets the TOC pack at the end of the show.
But I like that idea. I just got to make a few caveats here. No disingenuous. Like I'm already suspicious of this howdy fellas. I'm just telling you right now, this sounds like pandering to the crowd. I need more like, what's up, fuckers? I need it to be believable. So just, be active, but in a non disingenuous way.
Yeah, so be active in there. More is not the merrier in chat. Just really quick one-liners there, contributions, being supportive of the show. What's up, fuckers? Jake Feltz, taking your advice to heart right away.
I mean, I should have given that specific of an example. Thank you. This is going to be this was a bad idea.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. I think what's up, fuckers should be our new greeting on the show. What's up, pussies? Yeah, that's the kind of show we do here, Pete. It's all about the community, as you know.
Wow, Iceman, why are you in a hospital bed? Hopefully you're all right, buddy.
And one of our regulars out there, Iceman, hope you're doing okay. And we all hope you guys are staying safe out there. And I'm going to transition, Pete. This is gross. One way to stay safe is to make sure you hit that like button on YouTube when you're watching a video. Nothing shrouds you in a bubble of protection more than hitting the like button on your favorite YouTube videos, subscribing to Pete's channel, subscribing to the Splashplay channel. It's the only way I know, Pete, in this crazy 2022 of ours, to keep yourself truly safe.
That's right. Yeah. I even heard the CDC said you actually don't need to get a booster anymore. You just have to like your favorite content creators video and it will protect you from Omicron.
And not even your favorite, just ones that you occasionally get some joy out of.
And you say, what's up, fuckers, whenever you see them.
Yeah, he calls pussies coming into the show. But we appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us. And if you're new to the show, we've seen the views going up a little bit here, maybe because of our playoff best ball drafts, maybe because of the Davis Maddox spike. We don't know. But hang out with us here because we will continue to find things to do on the show, things to bet on, things to talk about. If that USFL launches in April, we are going to be there first and foremost. And actually, Pete, a thing for you before I do our plugs and we get into everything here. You know how we do the intro here? And the intro is one that I actually made last year based off the graphics that we had Pete's guy, Doug, did a great job kind of getting that going. But I feel like it really works with the show now where everything we do in terms of segments, in terms of bits, is like a game within a game. So like the little press start intro, I feel like has actually become more relevant than it was when I just was like, this would be a fun way to do an intro.
Yeah, and it aged very well because this was all pre-NFT boom and the 8-bit pixelated art and stuff is just all the most valuable NFTs are 8-bit pixelated art. So I think we were ahead of the curve there.
Yeah, without even realizing it. So that's the kind of quality you're going to get here. So again, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Also go to footballoutsiders.com/subscribe. We got the DVOA numbers on there that you're going to hear reference a lot. Playoff DVOA. For the first time ever, we actually have full records going back to 1983, tracking if you're a historical fan of football. You can go see how your favorite teams performed. And also you can see just how these teams are going to perform. So that'll be rolling out in the next few days here, but go check it out. footballoutsiders.com/subscribe. There's even some ad-free stuff going on that we're testing on the back end. So if you are also an FO Plus member for just $1 a week, you're not seeing any ads on the site. So that'll be pretty cool. But go footballoutsiders.com/subscribe to get an edge for yourself in these wild card weekends and everything else coming up in the playoffs. But Pete, let's get into it here. We got the wild card weekend news right before the show. CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire officially ruled out versus Pittsburgh. Darrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon, Derek Gore, all expected to be active. Maybe we'll have some more roles. Maybe Jerick McKinnon gets even more of a role for the playoffs. I know that was something Bill Simmons was talking about with some of his ringer betting cohorts on his podcast before I started this show up. But how do you feel about the Chiefs here, Pete? Big spread favoring them. Usually that means the running backs can run well. And we have seen Darrell Williams be a monster, but also be a chalk disappointment at times.
Yeah, I'm excited to get Darrell just because I do think he's the better of the pass catching backs. And we've kind of seen this dynamic play out before where the second back actually benefits even more than the original back being healthy, just because not only do they, inherit the full workload, but they don't have to share it generally with someone behind him. I do think we'll see some Derek Gore. They seem to like him a decent bit, but just getting Darrell Williams playing all the passing downs in this game, I think is pretty enticing. And I honestly just think he's a better talent than CEH at this point too. So I think it's probably a net positive for the Chiefs and for fantasy.
Do you think there's any world where Jerick McKinnon or a Derek Gore ends up in one of the tournament winning lineups on the Sunday 3-game slate that'll be on DraftKings or FanDuel?
Yeah, I mean, those things are wild. And we have seen, I forget what was the game earlier this year where the Chiefs just absolutely boat race someone, and like Gore, CH, and Darrell all had, I think, usable scores. So if the thesis is correct and they just pummel the Steelers, which I think makes a lot of sense, I could definitely see two of these backs doing something. But yeah, I'm guessing Darrell will be very chalky. So maybe Derek Gore is your kind of galaxy brain play.
Other news going on not right before the show. This one actually developed yesterday, but Juju Smith-Schuster returned to practice, trending towards playing at Kansas City at a $3K minimum salary on DraftKings, which clearly they were thinking he was out for the year. Now he'll be back in. And Pete, he's been a low ADOT guy anyway, but in this game against the Chiefs, they just need to move the ball as much as they can. Ben himself has been a low air yards guy all year long, just 7.1 intended air yards per attempt for him on the year. We've talked about his arm basically being nil at this point. Do you think Juju's viable at minimum salary, a guy who actually has shown a ceiling and shown the ability to pick up some touchdowns?
Yeah. I think he's definitely viable on the DFS slates. I think with some of these playoff contests, even underdog, Deontay Johnson's free at the end of the underdog draft. So it's like, you don't need to take on the Juju risk, but in DFS where you're getting the Stone Min, I think it's pretty intriguing there. But then I think, now, do you have to worry about ownership? Like, is he just going to be the guy that everyone's like, oh, I'm for sure playing Juju at 3K? I think you'd want to keep tabs on that. But I mean, he's been out since week 5. He had surgery. I don't think they would just rush him back, just even though it's an important playoff game. Like, I'm just going to assume that he's good to go and fully healthy at this point. So yeah, I definitely don't mind it if he's not catching too much ownership.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting spot because it is an upper body injury. So theoretically, he could have been doing cardio and kind of keeping himself in the condition he needs to be in. And they have Ray McLeod. They've tried James Washington. I think that's clearly lost the bloom a little bit off that rose. But I think, there's been nobody who stepped up in a meaningful enough way where they've been great. And you're like, we can't get Juju back in. You could easily, to me, see, I think Juju take a good amount of those Ray McLeod snaps, take whatever the Cody White snaps that were floating around for a while there. Like, there's a pathway for him to be useful. So I think for cash games for that slate, I think if you are a degenerate who's really doing that for the Sunday, feel free to throw Juju in. I think for tournaments, see where the ownership lies on the Osmos and ETRs of the world, and go from their Roto Grinders, wherever you want to go to. And I think that's going to help decide the Juju case a little bit more. Other news, we got James Conner and Rondale Moore, both not at practice for Arizona before they have their Monday Night Football wild card game against the Rams. Is it time to worry, Pete, with James Conner and Rondale Moore? Moore, not a big factor for our playoff best ball lineups, but if James Conner doesn't make it in for that wild card game, that could really hurt a lot of teams out there.
Yeah, it's interesting because Connor obviously not practicing. Chase Edmonds has been limited, but Cliff Kingsbury said both of them were true game time decisions. Obviously, you have to think Edmonds is far more ready to play if he's been getting in, limited practices. So yeah, this is an interesting one. Again, in those underdog drafts, I mean, Edmonds has been free, 9th, 10th round, and James Conner was actually creeping up into the 5th and 6th round. So another situation where how people have been drafting it doesn't seem like it's going to work out, because even if you draft Conner and they win, now you're still heading into another road game where you're going to have Chase Edmonds coming off of a start too. So the whole Connor play for these playoff contests is looking really, really shaky at this point. And as of right now, if I was a betting man, I would not be counting on Connor and feel pretty good about playing Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, it's weird because it's a Monday game. I feel like this could sort of be the Thursday of the week equivalent, where if a guy's on in Thursday, it's not great. But then if he gets in on Friday, you feel good. So definitely one where if you know before Monday Night Football, you're not going to know for your playoff best ball drafts, unfortunately. But if you know he's going to be in, I think certainly play him, I think, as much as you can. And if he's going to be trending towards being out, Chase Edmonds takes a pretty big bump for that showdown DFS slate on Monday. DJ Shooten making a good point. This will be Juju's last game before free agency to show he isn't a complete tumbleweed. His last chance, Pete, potentially to make a TikTok in Pittsburgh before he goes to, I don't know, the Jaguars. He goes to the Jaguars to replace LaVisca Chenault.
How funny would it be if the mainstream narrative was Juju fought to get back to playing Big Ben's last game, and it was actually because him and Chase Claypool have choreographed a halftime TikTok that they really want to shoot together?
I think there would be so many people in the Pittsburgh area taking their lunch pails and slamming it angrily on the floor. Have you heard of the Pittsburgh potty, the toilet that's in the basement thing?
No, what is this?
So I learned about that when I was visiting my friend who just moved to Pittsburgh, and then saw it. It went viral on the internet recently, but because Pittsburgh is a coal mining town, they used to have both showers and I guess a toilet that's not in the stall in the basement, so people could wash themselves off before coming into the house because they're covered in soot and coal and whatever real hardworking men do that Pete and I know nothing about. But I would say that it's classic Pittsburgh though, to just have a toilet sitting around in your fucking basement. There's no stall around it.
Yeah, you moved to a great state, Spags.
I'm far away. Pittsburgh's 4 hours. We're actually closer to New York. We're closer to you, I think, than Pittsburgh.
I mean, but come on, let's not talk about Philadelphians having a sterling reputation either.
Oh, I hate Philadelphians too.
It's the same way when people ask me about Boston. I'm like, I'm just here because of my wife. I don't like living here.
Yeah. I'm just a mercenary. I'll go wherever there's a house for me and maybe some upside, a studio space. Put me up wherever, and I'll be happy to go there. Other news that we got going on: Ronald Jones officially doubtful to play versus Philly. Same for Cyril Grayson coming off that hamstring issue. Does this change any of your views on anybody on the Bucks? Because I have to say, for me, no Ronald Jones, I do think means that Leonard Fournette. I mean, it might not mean that, but it does feel like Leonard Fournette's got to be close to a full go. Or maybe it does mean Keyshawn Vaughn gets a little bit more. And then you have Grayson, who's been on the upswing recently. And I think Rashad Perriman's right there, running at a lower ADOT, running shorter routes in a way that intrigues me for DFS, Pete. But what do you see on the Bucks?
Yeah, I think this is a huge deal because, it seemed like the Bucks, even losing AB and Godwin, that people were still on board with them handling the Eagles and doing it through Leonard Fournette and kind of using him as the engine of the offense, whether that's lots of checkdowns or just having him run the ball a ton. We know that they prefer him to the other running backs by a ton. So I think we were setting up for a big Lenny bell cow game. Now he's a true game time decision. If he doesn't play, I mean, you have to just be worried about this team. How many weapons can they really be down and still be competitive? And yeah, I guess from a single game perspective, Keyshawn Vaughn, I think will be very interesting, but I think you just have to worry about the overall success of the team when they're down 3 of their 4 best players. And yeah, touchdown Tommy, the GOAT, yada, yada. But at a certain point, he needs someone to make plays. And I think it's going to be hard to come by. And we also have some weather issues for this game. This just, I want to, I think on our show yesterday, I want to take the Eagles with the points right now. And I don't know if that line has changed. It was earlier in the week. I think they were +9. I was very happy to get that number.
Yeah, I'm surprised that this line hasn't moved at all, given the stuff you're talking about. Like, it is still a 27.3 implied points to 18.3 implied points for Philadelphia. But I agree, like, the wind, I think, is a concern. It could also make it a more variant game for a guy like Fournette who can get those short targets and sort of keep Brady from having to throw into the wind too much. 30-mile-per-hour wind is no joke. But I agree, it does kind of make Philly more alive. A team that runs the ball, that's trying to avoid risk, that does have some big targets who can get going in short range like Dallas Goedert, and even a guy who could run after the catch like Devonta Smith. Like, they haven't thrown him a lot of routes in the flank this year, but like, it does feel like that's what they should be doing given how fast and elusive he is. So an interesting one there for Tampa Bay. And Philly on their side, Pete, Miles Sanders going to play, has said unquestionably going to play. He's coming off a broken hand. We've seen Boston Scott be useful on the year, Jordan Howard be useful. We've also seen teams attack Tampa Bay with the pass, and that maybe opens up a window for Kenneth Gainwell, even though I think at this point he's clearly been knocked behind all the other guys. But how do you view those Philly running backs? And is there anybody you would trust?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with DJ here that if the Eagles get it done, they're going to do what they've done all year, which is run the shit out of the ball, whether that's, a lot of read options type stuff with Jalen Hurts or, with Miles Sanders in those backs. So I think it is encouraging that Miles Sanders is going to be back fully for this game. It is honestly really hard to project who they're going to use behind him because they've cycled through so many different combinations this year with Gainwell, Howard, and Boston Scott. So I honestly don't have a really good feel on that. I mean, if they get down to the Bucks, it's hard to see them using a ton of Jordan Howard just because he hasn't been involved in the pass game as much. You would think it would kind of shift to those other backs. So that's kind of my only thing. They've used Boston Scott in both capacities as kind of a pass catcher and a rusher. So I could see him being pretty heavily involved, but I'm kind of leaning toward us getting more of a bell cow-esque Miles Sanders game here.
And Willis in the chat pointing out too, I guess in some spots the line is down to 8. Looks like on DK Sportsbook it's at 8. FanDuel still has at 8.5. A lot of the other books, points bet, BetMGM still have at 8.5. So honestly, it might mean a little more value there taking the 8 plus 8.5 at this point with the line moving down if it does continue to come down. And then the weather in general, Pete, you kind of talked about it, but we do have frigid cold conditions in Buffalo, 30-mile-per-hour winds in Tampa Bay. And normally for me, and it's probably because of my time at Osmo, did their On the Contrary show this morning with Osmo and Lofty, had a lot of fun doing that and being back there. But we've always talked there about, Vegas odds are the one thing you hold up. Like, that's your North Star for everything. If those lines move, you worry the most. But with weather, the lines do move. The Tampa Bay line hasn't changed that much for them. The Buffalo New England line is down to like shit. Like, they're under 45 implied points on that over under as well. But how does this affect how you're viewing things? Like, do you care about the weather? Or are you, I guess, changing how you view things? Because to me, it means like Tampa's still probably going to score 4 touchdowns. It just means they're probably going to score not from Mike Evans, but probably more from, short throw kind of things.
Yeah, I had pulled up what Kevin Roth over at Rotogrinders, meteorologist, had said about this game. He says, I have the rain arriving before the game on Sunday and clearing pregame, but if that timing slows, this will be much more risky. Winds will be worse pregame with the rain, but will still be pretty breezy, sustained 15 to 20 mile per hour with gusts around 30. That's enough to throw a few deep passes off and kicks as well. So it seems like it's not perfect conditions. This isn't like, panic like that Buffalo New England game a month or so back. So to me, it's more just another tiebreaker in not being that interested in this game. Like, part of the thesis with the Bucs has been how pass heavy they've been and not taking the foot off the gas. My thought was, hey, gross weather game. They get Lenny back. They just kind of pound the rock against Philly. Now, are they even able to do that if Fournette's not playing? To me, this just seems like a spot where both teams might want to play it a little slower than they usually do. And Philly's always willing to play it slower. So yeah, like when I'm like at the end of my underdog drafts and kind of tacking in a guy, like for a while I was grabbing, Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith, who are cheap. And now it's like, I'd rather take Deontay Johnson. I'd rather take Josh Jacobs, like these guys that I think are in better game environments to score a bunch of points in a loss.
Yeah, it's interesting, and maybe a little more plus EV to get your last best ball drafts. I think it was Silas in the chat yesterday. Somebody said it where they were like, drafting really early in these best ball drafts on underdog is going to be probably plus EV, and then drafting like as late as you possibly can is going to be plus EV, and everything else in between is going to have a lot of variance to it based on the news and the teams that get in. But I would agree, like playing the weather right now might be an angle here to get you at least out of that first round. So I think that's a pretty smart approach. Anything else news-wise that you're seeing, Pete, that you want to bring to the people? And otherwise, I'm going to have you choose your own adventure for our next segment.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, we touched about CH and Connor. I'm sure we'll get a few more practice reports coming through today, but yeah, I think we've covered everything that's been released.
All right, so your choice, Pete. Do you want to do playoff best ball, or do you want to do what I'm calling this segment, Nana Pete's old timey playoff predictions?
Um, yeah, why don't we do a playoff draft first? That
Okay.
way, we don't, peak too early in the
Well, yeah,
episode.
Nana Pete too. She's an older woman. She takes a while to get into the room, into the house to get situated. So we can probably get a draft out before she's even there.
Yeah, let's bang one out. I crossed the 50 mark last or this morning
Ooh.
it must have been. I think this will be my 51st. I There's no way I'm getting to 75, but that would be a goal for me.
I will admire you greatly if you cram in 25 more drafts
I'm not
and
going to be
keep your
able
marriage happy.
I bet like once the day I banged out like 3 this morning and then I had to start doing shit and it's just like I can't. I'm not good enough to actually multitask and draft these well. So normally when I do one of these drafts, I'm pretty focused.
When I was doing the NBA best ball ones on Underdog, which it's still thriving there, anybody, if you could beat my 10,350 in that lineup, please let me know and I'll feel less good about myself. But I was doing 5 at a time that like last day,
Yeah,
which was incredibly difficult. Like left brain, right brain, all having to operate. And that is not something I thrive in.
I might. I might maybe if I have a little time tonight, maybe I'll go 2 table is probably where I feel like I can actually do 2 at once and still make a good decision. So maybe I'll rip off a little 2 table sesh.
Iceman pointing out, and Iceman honestly earning his way to comments or MVP. If this hospital thing is true and he's tweeting through it, chatting through it, I feel like he deserves some extra credit. But does Nana Pete need to be done by the time Murder She Wrote comes on? That is a good point and a very good elderly person joke.
It is. Iceman, I don't think I ever heard if what's going on with you, and feel free to not disclose, but hopefully you're all good, buddy.
Probably he just turned to ice, ironically.
But yes, I mean, Nana Pete, she's got to bang out her rewatch of the Golden Girls, all that stuff. We are on. No, we're not on. This hasn't started yet, has it? Okay.
No, they're all just holding their dicks there. They're all popping Viagra's to get ready for the cold.
I want to do a little different because I feel like I've definitely been in the driver's seat the past few times, and I think that you've gotten a little more acclimated. You have a good feel for the playoff picture. I will like if you want to ask me questions or you want, my advice, I will give it to you, but I want you to put the Spags imprint on this team.
Okay, cool. So let's prepare for a minus EV draft. Everyone strap in. I will say for my first pick, let me pull up the big one. All right. So I'm going to try to do what you've done in the past and go against type and also try to hopefully take somebody from not taking our QB. I'll take Stephon Diggs here.
Sounds good.
And honestly, this is the one too where I've only made one bet for Wildcard weekend, and it actually is a Pats to win money line bet.
Really?
Yeah.
What did that pay out?
So it's only plus 107, I think on DK is where I got it. But at Edge Sports, I mentioned, the company that I work for, which is Edge Sports Football Outsiders with the 2 brands. We do 100,000 simulations. They have them winning, I think. Actually, no, the odds are plus 107 for them. But then according to Sportsbooks, it's like plus 170. So like, it's just not an efficient line based on what they're saying. So I'm just trying to work off that. Allegedly a 30% turn on expected value, which we'll find out.
Yeah. That one is, I'd want a little bit more. I think on that, but I do think they're live as we pick Stephon Diggs in our lineup.
Yeah, I know that's the one thing. Like I will say for my ride or die picks, I'm probably going to pick the Pats to win. I just think the one thing that occurs to me, and it's even been in our best ball drafts, we were talking about it yesterday with Davis and with Willis also pointing it out in the chat too. Like nobody thinks the Pats are going to win. And I think at a certain point, we've done this song and dance for 20 years now. Like you got to kind of think the Pats are going to win potentially at some point.
Yeah, and the thing that kind of stinks about the Pats, at least for these contests, is if they win, they go play Tennessee, which is going to be another kind of slow, low-scoring game. Like if the Bills, are able to put up a decent total, then they go probably on the road to play KC, and then that just has another shootout, potential written all over it. So just for pure scoring ceiling, I mean, the Bills are definitely the funnest way to play it. All right, what are we doing here?
We got to do Josh Allen here, I would think.
Yeah.
So again, this is classic touting too, where you talk about how the Pats are going to win, and then we're doing an actual draft here, and I'm drafting Bills and right in everybody's faces.
Yeah, it is funny to see this. So the Jamar Chase drafter decided to blow up um the stacks,
Hmm.
and then the Travis Kelsey owner decided he was just gonna then grab Brady. The Rogers Adams connection did get there. It's always funny to see how the stacks go in those first two rounds.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have learned a lot, and I've actually been glad that you've taken the driver's seat and hearing you talk with both Josh Norris and Davis over the last week about the strategy for this. Like I would encourage everybody to watch every Splash Play episode because I think we have fun here, and it is a good, even at the very least, a good background noise show. But I think you guys have had some of the some of the better best ball content around out there. There's a lot of great people doing stuff, so I don't want to tout us too much, but like I've learned a lot just hearing you guys speak. So I'm hoping I can make us not an embarrassment here in this draft.
Yeah, hopefully we have some Splash Play viewers or Deposit Kingdom members who are able to take down the gauntlet. Last year it was Chris G, who's really active in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, who won the inaugural gauntlet. So we got to keep it in the family.
Yeah, and then you had Liam in the win the regular season one
Yep.
too. So there you go.
Deposit Kingdom on fire.
Yeah, and no logos though. You got to start people doing your logos everywhere because that's how I know from Osmo. Like that's a legitimate part of like their memberships sell a lot more. I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but everybody else out there, that's why all the companies you like out there ask you to put their logos on your DraftKings handle, your FanDuel handle, because they get signups for when you have that out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Who are we doing?
All right.
So this is a
So
fun one because I feel like there's like three ways you could go here.
I mean, I would still think I'm inclined to go with a Bill, but I feel like we can get the running back from the NFC, maybe. So I'm gonna go Debo. I'm gonna go Debo here.
I'm completely on board with
Okay.
that. I would have been fine taking Gronk, Debo, or Singletary probably.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Gronk, I didn't think about as much. To me, it was Eric saying in the chat, Singletary or Debo. That was where I was. And my thesis for the Debo play is just that I think that now that Elijah Mitchell is back, he could finally go back to being a receiver full time, and that's going to hurt Kittle and help him. So that's I'm
Yeah.
very bullish on Debo this weekend. His price tag on DK, I don't think anybody's going to play him.
Yeah, and Josh asking, is there actually any merit to that guy going Chase then Mahomes? So I don't like doing that. One, because when you grab Chase, like you're making a bet on the Bengals and Burrow's going to be available in round 5. And, if Chase like truly hits his ceiling, you're going to get at least 2+ games from him. And then you also want Burrow to come along for the ride there. So I would never do a combo like that. The only quarterback that I've kind of taken unstacked would be Josh Allen in the second round. If he slips a little bit, just knowing there was so many options to backfill with Allen's weapons. And we've seen so many games this year where he spreads it out enough that you could win with the Bills Super Bowl, even if you don't have Diggs, just the way that offense runs. So I don't love the chase with Mahomes. I'm preferring either stacking or getting quarterbacks cheaper.
Yep, I think it's reasonable, and I think your strategy certainly spoke to me throughout the process as well. All right, can we? I'm gonna say I don't love this necessarily, and I don't think you will either. So I don't want to go that way. Let's go Aaron Jones. I think it's just a positive value pick at this point.
That would have been what I would have done. What was your second option?
I was thinking about going to the Cowboys, but then it's like Cowboys and Niners, somebody's going to knock each other off. And for me, that's sometimes how I like to play things, is cornering a market on like what a situation is going to be. But I know that's how you wouldn't draft. I think you've brought up a lot of good points that I'm going to try to impart for myself.
The reason I like the Aaron Jones pick with this lineup is because we've started with 3 really high ceiling plays that play in the wild card round. So we can absorb, a 0 from Aaron Jones and kind of build around him. And we've also set up, now like for an ideal Super Bowl potentially with Bills Packers. And because we passed on Singletary, like you said, we're going to want our running back to come from the NFC. And so to me, the puzzle pieces here, just kind of with the story our draft is telling so far, fit together really nicely.
Eli Mitchell's ADP, where is that at right now? Do you know?
Yeah, he's been coming up a little bit. He's here at 36.3.
Okay.
It's definitely, he used to be a bigger gap between him and Kittle. And I've now noticed that a lot of people are, pairing Mitchell with either Debo or Kittle, but he should definitely be on our radar with this build.
Dobby saying can get a late Lamar stack. I don't think a Lamar Jackson stack's gonna have a lot of value at this point.
He's referencing a Twitter post I did last night. I posted a screenshot for a draft where one guy took 4 quarterbacks all in a row, backup quarterbacks, and then another guy took Lamar Jackson. So it was just an absolute disaster. All right, curious to see what you do here.
I think I would just go Eli.
Yeah. I think that is the smart play. I was trying to see, sometimes I consider like, all right, if we want to add Kittle to this mix too, like what is the order you'd want to do it? But I do think people would be willing to take an unstacked Mitchell more than like an unstacked or uncorrelated Kittle. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Knox too, I don't hate as a play here because I'm sure a lot of people will go the Gabriel Davis, the probably not the Emmanuel Sanders route, the Beasley route, but yeah, I think I just like Eli Mitchell enough. Like I feel like whenever he's played, Kyle Shanahan has been willing to feed him, up to 30 times in a game. And I think in the playoffs where you have to win and you're maybe have some trust issues with Jimmy, I think that's another pathway for him to win again.
Yeah, Mathology said he's been doing a lot of 3-3-1 builds. I think that's completely viable. I think what's so fun is, I mean, there's probably 6 to 7 like structure build types that I end up using. Like there's so many ways that I think are justifiable. The only thing I really don't do is like, even if I feel like my odds of advancing are slim, I still won't punt a full Super Bowl lineup. Like unless I just completely get blocked out, but I still want to be able to field a full starting lineup in a potential Super Bowl. And outside of that, I think there's just a near infinite amount of directions you can go.
Jeff saying he loves your quick analysis, Pete. Now let's do a pick here before we get. Okay, so now we can actually I get either tight end. That's interesting. I'm going to go Dawson Knox's way, I think, instead of Kittle, just because we're not going to have Jimmy G, which I guess might not be a bad thing if Trey Lance somehow does get in and has a hot playoff run. But I think Knox, like, he's just been a guy that's upset the stacks all year long, and I feel like he's still not getting treated like a guy that has that upside, so I would rather go there.
I would have gone Kittle, but only for the reason that there are still more Bills guys that you can stack with, because you still have Gabe Davis, because you still have Cole Beasley, you have Emmanuel Sanders. And so I'm generally a little bit more willing to push it, knowing that I guess we could still get Ayuk. But again, we also don't have to go 3 49ers. And this is why I'm saying there's not like any direct right or wrong answer. So I think that's perfectly viable, but I would generally, just knowing where the ADPs are on the Bills, be a little more comfortable kicking that can down the road.
And Paul in the chat's got that spike week avatar on himself, so he must be doing pretty sharp. If you miss on Kittle, you could still get Ayuk, and he's been good for the last half of the year. Yeah, I think that's, to me, if Debo doesn't perform, it's got to go to Kittle or Ayuk. And I think Kittle, to me, is just going to be an inline blocker more. Like, that's what they like to use him for when things really matter. So that's why I'm down on Kittle. And I might be completely wrong, but I'm just very down on Kittle.
And Paul's saying, I don't know why Ayuk is going undrafted in most of these. I agree with that take, although I know why it's happening. And it's all has to do with the stacking potential. People aren't excited to draft Jimmy G. And if Jimmy G was a more exciting quarterback, I think you'd see him pushed up, a couple rounds. Say if I think a good analog would be like Brandon Ayuk is, comparable to like Zach Ertz as far as how attractive he is as a stack partner with Kyler. And Zach Ertz, will go in the 8th round of most of these drafts. So I think Ayuk would be there if his quarterback was a little more attractive. So let's see. We are going to be up on the clock here. Again, curious to see what you do.
All right. So we still got Gabe Davis there. I presume we still also have Sanders and Beasley, right?
Yeah, Sanders, Beasley will go drafted in like the 10th round. Sanders goes undrafted.
Okay. I think let's just take Gabe here.
Yeah. I think we definitely want to get to 4 Bills, and it is going to be viable as well to get to 5 if we want. I think it's completely fine if we want to toss on Beasley or Sanders to this. I would probably recommend Beasley in this context just because I think Sanders plays a little bit more on the outside, and we've kind of made some of our bets with Diggs and Gabe there. But if you go 5 from the Bills, then we're live for basically any Bills NFC matchup, which I think helps our cause, especially because we're rolling out these NFC running backs. And so the one thing I would probably put on our wish list is one more NFC running back with one of these last picks.
There's somebody, I just lost the chat, but somebody was saying that whoever's in the Scotty doesn't know guy in the 6th spot is just drafting for chaos. I think I'm getting one of our best drafts we've had on the show because that guy is drafting completely wildly and illogically based on like what you've established as best practices.
Can I make a suggestion for this pick just because I am loving how this team is going? And maybe I'll slow roll it a little bit and make sure that it doesn't get picked here. I think Chase Edmonds is an absolute smash here. We know Connor is likely not going to play. We don't have any Rams in our lineup. We need NFC running backs. It will help us advance even if like Eli Mitchell were to have a down game, because we're still going to need to use a running back score here.
Okay, I'm in for it.
And, this would have been a little more like if we had a Dallas guy, like say we had CD instead of Debo, then you start to, say we had Odell or, Cup in here. And then you're like, well, do we want to play a loss? But now we can have our cake and eat it too. We're playing for a San Francisco win. We're playing for an Arizona win. And our running backs pair up really nicely with our Bills onslaught.
So two sides of the same coin here. Eric saying this is why Pete is the best ball bro. And then Frankie saying Pete just couldn't help himself, had to strong arm Spags. That is true. I did get strong armed even when I was literally announcing my child's sex on the show.
Come on. It was just, I thought I had to it wasn't that you've been picking.
No, I think that was helpful. It's a team effort. I get it.
Well, the thing that was crazy to me is his ADP, Chase Edmonds ADP should be in the 5th round now. Like he should be going even, I would say slightly, or at least right where Eli Mitchell goes. Like those guys should be going about in the same range. And the fact that there's still a huge discount just because people are anchored to the ADPs on here feels like an exploitable thing. If you can keep drafting him around anywhere around pick 45, like it's a smash.
I mean, look, I think this is a pretty solid build though. I think Eric's raising a decent point that you could definitely go to a Cardinals receiver here. Also, I still think Beasley screams like playoff upside guy who just hasn't gotten there in the regular season either. So I think there's a case to be made for me to go Beasley, but I think the Kirk or Ertz take is actually pretty sound too.
Yeah. So I would, if we get him, I would definitely say Kirk because I think we can still get Beasley. One, based on ADP. Two, like who is going to be the person that takes Beasley? Maybe the Singletary owner, but otherwise we have cornered the market on Bills. So this is sometimes I'll tab through here. Does anyone in between us? So this guy does have Singletary. This guy's a total wild card. So he could do anything, but we'd still have an out to draft still another Bill again. So I would rather try to play for both where I don't think Kirk makes it back to us.
Okay, I think take Kirk. I mean, he's the wide receiver 1 for Arizona, so I think that's perfectly fine. There's a chance too if they do advance around. Hopkins might not get back in time. I think you said yesterday the conference championship is when they were looking at for him, right?
For Nuke?
For DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I had heard there's some whispers that could be in play if they get there. The other thing I love about Kirk though is just, this is a potential high scoring game. We do need to make sure we get a little bit more ceiling in this lineup to make sure we escape. The way I think about it is like, we're hoping for one really big ceiling game from like Diggs, Knox, or Gabe. And then, we're going to want a few other cracks at this to help us advance.
I feel like Scotty's going to take Cole Beasley on this pick just because he has been all over the place. Though he did get a Tennessee stack, I think, out of himself.
Yeah. Ivan, I've taken a decent amount of Manny Sanders. There are so many different viable ways we can go here. I'll put the 3 in the queue right here. I think all make a bit of sense, and then it can be up to you to pick your favorite.
And that's tough. I do like cornering the Buffalo market because, we are saying like we've gone no AFC at all. So like we're saying the Bills have to make it. And I think to me, that's what says Beasley.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do Beasley. The Bills have to make it in this scenario. And then we have our little Arizona pairing, our San Francisco pairing, and our one-off Aaron Jones. So like, even if we get a Bills Packers Super Bowl, like we have, 6 guys playing in that game. And then we would just need to count Aaron Jones's running back score. So I like builds like this because we have so many scenarios we can root for. Bills Packers, Bills Niners, Bills Cardinals.
And then also for me, it's a hedge on that bet I made for the Pats to win. So now if the Pats to win, I'd be like, cool, like I feel good about this bet moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Bills are just such a fun, like the Bills and the Cowboys to me, and I guess the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are just so hard to get the studs. But with the Bills and Cowboys, they're the two teams where I think they're legit Super Bowl contenders. They're high scoring offenses, and you can get 4 games from them, and their ADPs line up in a way where you can get their best players. And so those two teams are unique in that regard. And so anytime I'm doing like a Bills onslaught, I feel pretty good about the team.
Also, we got about 85 people in here right now, only 18 likes. So help us out. Hit that like button. If you want to hang out with us here, we are going to give away the Owners Club NFT pack at the end of the show as well to our chat MVP. And I will say, if you're a chat MVP, Pete would probably hit the like button would be my thought.
You know what I was just thinking is, Eric, I like really took this compliment to the heart, being the best ball bro. And then I realized our fucking chat MVP, he's just buttering me up to win chat MVP. He doesn't actually even mean it.
I mean, this could be every show for us. But we should have a chat MVP every show that people just keep being fake nice to us. And at a certain point, that'll turn to real niceness.
Yeah, I'm going to start telling my wife, can we do a husband MVP contest? And this is the way I could just get compliments all the time.
No, honestly, I will say to your credit too, and we got to go through the rest of the segments here. We got to get Nana Pete going. Actually, if you want to prepare Nana Pete here, I'll stall for a second and actually say something nice about you. But I do think, for me doing this show, and this is part of why I'm excited that we're going to be doing some more stuff with Underdog, that we're officially an Underdog partner over at Football Outsiders and Splash Play. Like we're going to be doing a lot more best ball content. And I think I've kind of felt like I was missing out on some of the fun. We do a lot of silly things here. We still do the DFS stuff. That's all great. The best ball you can do all year long. Like there is nothing stopping you from doing best ball all year long. And speaking of something I would love to do all year long, it's Nana Pete. Welcome to the show, Nana Pete. How are you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I'm feeling tired, and this season just won't stop. It just keeps going and going and going.
Well, back in your day, Nana Pete, I feel like a season was just like 2 months basically, and then they're like, "Oh, you're the champ, you win."
Back in my day, there was no off season. We would simply strap on our leather helmets and the cowhide and roll around in the mud playing Smear the Queer. I know you can't play that anymore. I know it's not allowed. I get it. It's a problematic term.
Different era. It's a different era.
But I grew up on that game.
Were you the one smearing or getting smeared?
Yeah, that's the beauty of the game, is sometimes you're both.
Well, Nana Pete, obviously we brought you on the show today, not just because people love the character, but also because you have so much wisdom here. You've seen 60 different NFL seasons right before your eyes, all guys with names who've been, you've gone to school with at some point. So what's the sort of sage wisdom you can give to the people out there who are trying to tackle this new wild card weekend where there's so many teams to choose from?
Yeah, I sometimes feel like people quite don't understand how much my life has intertwined with the NFL. Spags, did you know I was at Roger Goodell's birth?
No, I did not. What was that like?
It was incredible. I was actually the midwife for that birth, and I took Roger under my wing and I shaped him into the smart, upstanding commissioner he is to this day. And any decision you see from Roger Goodell, I've had my fingerprints on.
I did not expect the Nana Pete character to be a Goodell bootlicker. That is.
Oh, he's preserved the great game of football. He has never made a poor decision. He's a benevolent ruler and a mega brain, just a giga brain genius.
How are the butt cheeks on him, though? That's the thing. He's not a player, so they might not be up to your usual standards.
Considering I helped raise the boy, I have never looked at his buttocks with any bit of leering eyes. In fact, I've always treasured him as a friend. But I will say, for those who didn't grow up giving him baths like me, that it's one fine tushy.
And that's the kind of tushy you could send home to mama. That's what we always say.
It's true. It's true. It's a soft butt too. I used to put a little baking powder on that butt and
Baking
what
powder. I don't think that's baby powder.
baby powder.
You used to bake that up, bake up that sweet cake of his.
I'd put some baby and baking powder. That's the thing people forget is that together it makes a very combustible chalk-like, mess. And anytime, anytime he was a bad boy, I would get that concoction and give him a little baking and baby powder spanking.
And put him in the oven a little to brown him up.
No, 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 don't be ridiculous. I can't have child services getting called on me.
Well, Nana Pete, the good news for you is because we have to do ride or die picks, we can breeze through this fast. But we wanted to get your takes on the playoffs here. Who do you think is going to be the dark horse here that makes a run for an NFC championship or an AFC championship?
It is true. I've been looking at the bracket, and did I tell you that I once ran a mile race with Ben Roethlisberger in 4th grade?
No, did you win?
I did. I beat him. He's always been slow as fuck, and some things never change. But I will say I'm pulling for my old schoolyard classmate, Ben Roethlisberger. Some say it's his final game, but people have often said it's my final show, Spags. And what do? I come back, and I keep coming back over and over again.
You simply can't stay away, I think. Hopefully you avoided Ben in the 4th grade bathrooms.
Oh, let's just say that he's always been a little mischievous, but I knew how to stand up for myself. I've cold clocked Ben Roethlisberger a few times in my day. Sometimes you just have to put him in his place.
True. A big head like that, he probably didn't even feel it. But we do have your good pal Jamar Chase, who used to play hopscotch, which also Deebo Samuel. It seems like all of the players that you've talked about so lovingly on the show are actually in the playoffs with a chance to make some noise.
It is true. And would you say that correlation equals causation in this regard, that I have a bit of a Midas touch? Anyone who went to school with me made it into the playoffs. I surround myself with winners, Spags, which makes us doing a segment together so bizarre.
Well, it's also, I would think, because you gravitate towards the players with robust, taut buttocks. And as a result, that probably means a higher athletic propensity because, all the speed's generated from your supple butt cheeks.
Well, it is funny you say that, and I apologize for not calling you a winner, but like you inferred, everyone who made the playoffs, I have admired their buttocks, I have seen their nice round tushies, and yet you continue to elude me, playing hard to get, refusing to show me that ass of yours.
You sound like Big Ben there with your insistence.
Please don't lump me into them. This is purely on request. I'm not going to force you. I will only shame you and make you feel like lesser of a man for it.
The Aziz Ansari approach.
Please stop equating me to all these problematic figures. It's been a rough week for me, as Steven points out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Nana Pete. Why are you not in black after your good friend Betty White passed away?
I only have one shawl, a shawl for all occasions. And Spags, despite sometimes my, terse delivery, I am an optimist at heart, and a black shawl would be discongruent with the positivity and the hope I see for the world.
And you would also resemble a witch far more.
Please don't call me a Big Ben, a witch, Aziz Ansari. All of these comparisons are deeply unflattering.
Michael Guest asking, did you call Ben on your telegraph to wish him luck this weekend? Did you? What kind of phone are you rocking these days, Nana Pete?
Oh boy, if I would have died for a telegraph. No, this was back when there was just the Pony Express. I would write a long form letter on a scroll and tie it up with a piece of twine from a nearby bush, and the little boy would hop on the horse, and he would say, "Here, Nana, put your letter for Big Ben in my satchel." And I say, no, you might lose the satchel. I said, open up your pants. We're going to put this scroll right between your butt cheeks where it will never be lost. And he said, really, Nana Pete, I must put this letter to Big Ben deep within my drawers. And I said, boy, drop your trousers. And I would stuff the scroll right in there, and I would pull up his pants and cinch it and then help him get on the horse. He would say, you just need to put your hand under my foot to help me get on the horse. But I would like to get a nice firm grasp on his butt, lift him up on the horse. Then I slap the horse's ass, and the note would be on its way to Big Ben. And that is how communications happened back in my day.
Didn't they also used to call you the Pony Express because anybody could hop on for a ride and deliver their package?
Please, I've let he who hasn't been a power bottom cast the first stone.
I don't even want that. Pete, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Let's go there.
I think the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be Big Ben versus Deebo Samuel for all the marbles. And the reason I know this to be the case is because Ben has told me that when he accepts the Lombardi trophy, he is going to thank me in his victory speech. And if that's not something we all can root for, then to hell with all of you.
Any final words to the people, Nana Pete? Because Kyle's pointing out, scrolled back to realize this bit's been going on for 10 minutes. A good point, perhaps, by Kyle for producing us in the chat.
What do we say? Time flies when you're talking about helping a little pony boy deliver a letter.
True. Any final words, Nana Pete?
I have no final words other than thank you to all my fans. Please subscribe to me on OnlyFans, where I, every single week, tell stories in the nude.
Oh, God. Go subscribe to Nana Pete's OnlyFans. There's the plug. And Nana Pete will be back with us next week, as always. And a real chat MVP, I would say, would hang on with us throughout that segment and not even think about leaving. That's what I would say, Pete, for a real chat MVP. They love Nana Pete.
Yeah, maybe be a little picky with how you cut up that clip.
Yeah, I won't put the childhood game for just a 30-second clip of you talking about that.
This is a safe space, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's game by game here, ride or die picks time, where we are going to review all the wild card games, give the implied totals and all that, and give our ride or die picks. And it's worth pointing out, actually, I think in the show notes that were lovingly crafted beforehand, I think somebody wrote something up about this. Ride or die picks wild card weekend. Spags heroically went on a torrid end of season run to almost catch Pete. Will he continue his tremendous heater now that the playoffs are in front of us? Pete, that completely unbiased description was written up, and I think it sums up ride or die picks pretty well.
I know how much you love overwriting things for this show. So yes, Spags. I'm telling you, if this whole thing we're doing doesn't work out, we got to get you on as a Jeopardy writer.
I would love to do that. I could be like the executive producer guy, just give myself a nice fancy job and just hope nobody notices.
It sounds great.
All right, ride or die picks. You guys know the rules by now. We only have 1, 3, and 10 pointers. All the other numbers are out of stock, so we're going to negotiate some picks per game here. It could be a DFS pick, could be a betting pick, Pete. And you've been thriving this year. You know, not quite going for as many 10 pointers as some of us have, but you've been doing a great job for yourself.
Well, I'm just glad cash game week is over and I can get back to YOLOing 10 pointers in this contest and really making you kind of lick my boots in this contest.
Okay, much like Nana Pete with Roger Goodell. It's going to be right there lapping it up. Starting with Las Vegas, 21.5 implied points. Cincinnati, 27 implied points in this one. Edge Sports also has it as being a 51-point line, even though the books have it as a 48.5-point line. So maybe a little bit of value on the over bet. Pete, what would you like for this first ride or die weekend of what they're calling super wild card weekend, which it's just fucking, how about 3-day wild card weekend?
All right, I'm going to propose a 10-pointer to you.
Okay.
If Darren Waller outscores both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
That's one of those things that, game script wise, that actually should still not happen. So I'll give you a 10-pointer on that. It's probably not a true 10, but it's fine.
It's probably like a 7.5, but I appreciate you rounding up.
All right. I will say, what if, I'm going to leverage off your play, Pete. What if I were to say that Zay Jones outscores Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller?
I feel like that's also not a 10-pointer, but I think it's comparable to mine. So shake on it.
Okay.
And I'll give it to
Oh
you.
no, I got fuck. I'm the other way now. Okay, there we go. I gotta go lefty.
Yeah.
You got. Thank you. You can also pat my. No, I don't know which way I'm going now. I'm okay. There we go. I guess this is me filleting your hand. I don't know. Next game up, New Orleans, 19 or New Orleans, not in the playoffs.
Wow.
They're back, Pete. Taysom Hill, he's all healed. They're good to go. New England, 19.8 implied points. Buffalo, 24.3 implied points. Line on this one is -5 for Buffalo. Actually looks like it might be closer to a 1-point line according to Edge Sports, and that's where I'm placing my money line bet. And I will up that for this ride or die pick, Pete. I will say New England not only wins, hedging against our really well-drafted best ball team, I will say New England wins by 6.5.
New England wins by 6.5. Yeah, that. And you said the line is 4?
The line is 5.
5. Yeah. So that puts us into 10-point territory, 11-point gap or so. Yeah, I'll give that to you. I am going to be semi-correlated with your bet. Can I get 10 points if Ramondre Stevenson outscores Devin Singletary?
Just because Damian Harris exists, I think that is reasonable. Actually, Osmo's only got Ramondre at 6.5 points this week. And
ETR has Bolden ahead of Ramondre too. So I feel like this is a balls to the wall pick.
Yeah, I think it feels like it shouldn't be like that much of a discrepancy, but I think structurally, like Brandon Bolden's probably the pass catcher here, and Ramondre takes a step backwards. So yeah, I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
All right, on to the Sunday slate here. And shout out Jesse, by the way. He gave a really nice compliment yesterday. Now he's back here getting spoiled with so many good shows this week. Appreciate it, fellas.
You can't trust anything anyone's saying today. I think that all these are bullshit. No one
yesterday Jesse was here and was like, Spags is a great host. And I was like, thank you. Like, it stood out because that's like, it's like a nice thing.
Did you leak this MVP idea and they were buttering you up ahead of time?
One time Ian Hartitz called me a great host unprovoked on Twitter too. So all the Jesse Smith, Ian Hartitz, everybody's buzzing, Pete.
Was that because of a show we all did together?
No, we couldn't have Ian on this year because of the PFF FO blood feud.
Oh God.
They're fighting in the streets like Anchorman.
Wow. I guess I've missed this. I mean, it makes sense that they would be beefing, but I actually haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, that's why whatever. Just let everybody behind the scenes here. That's why we didn't have Eric Eager or Ian on this year because I love those guys. But yeah, they unfortunately FO not the coolest with doing PFF casts, unfortunately.
Casualties. All right.
Maybe for year 2, hopefully, because I miss Ian. Ian's so great. If you're not following Ian Hartitz, you should be. Eric Eager too, also doing a great job.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, 18.3 implied points. Tampa Bay, 27.3 implied points. That's a nice little swole cast reference for everybody out there. 30-degree winds, Pete. What do you want for this ride or die pick with the Eagles in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with it. I've been floating this take. I'm gonna take Eagles money line.
Ooh, okay. That's an easy 10-pointer then, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say for me, all right, let's go big here. Leonard Fournette over 200 all-purpose yards.
I mean, you know that he's a game time decision, right? I mean, I will give it to you for sure. You just say YOLO.
Yeah.
I'll even give you the backfill. I'll say the starting running back for the Bucks over 200. If he doesn't go, you can get Keyshawn.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Boy, we're really being charitable. Playoffs really brings out the best in us.
I mean, the Lenny stuff looks dicey, man. I'm just trying to, help our accountant here not have to give you a 0.
No, that's fair. I will take, I think somebody here is going to get a lot of points in the backfield. Steven in the chat, Steven Leibovitz. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, I love this take. That's a 3-pointer though. That's not a 10-pointer.
Yeah, Osmo's got Hurts at 20.55, Brady 20.95. So that's actually shockingly close.
Yeah. Just because Hurts is going to run a ton. I think that I would grade that as a 3, but you could make an argument that it's a 1.
Next game up, we got the Niners 24 implied points, Dallas 27 implied points, and I think you can go first again.
All right, I'm very much looking forward to this game. Seems like everyone is on San Francisco as the trendy upset pick.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel we've all been kind of conditioned now that no one's really separating in the Dallas offense as far as, like who's the alpha skill position player. Can I get 10 points if CeeDee Lamb goes for over 30 DraftKings points?
Yeah, I think it's a 10-pointer. I mean, over 30, I feel like for most people would be a 10-pointer. Yeah.
Yeah, make CD great again.
I guess could I also get 10 points then if Debo Samuel were to go over 30 fantasy points?
Well, Debo projects better. I'll give you it if you. This is what I'll do. If he goes over 32. So I need a 2-point spot, which is kind of like the difference in the Debo CD projection.
Okay, I'm seeing it more like a 1.5, but that's fine. Over 32 seems fair. 31 and a half, let's say.
Fine.
Okay, done. All right, last Sunday game here. Pittsburgh's 16.5 implied points, which has actually come down 0.3 since it opened at 16.8. Kansas City, 29.5 implied points. Does look like Edge Sports has this as being a 52-point line instead of a 46. So that's an interesting one. I will say, Pete, and I think this has to be a 10-pointer, even though it feels like maybe it shouldn't be. Juju Smith-Schuster, highest scoring wide receiver for Pittsburgh. That's got to be a 10, right?
Juju?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're saying over Najee, Deontay, and Ben?
No, over Deontay, over Claypool, over Freiermuth. I guess I'll also give you.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. I'll give it to you.
Which would make him a great play at 3K. What do you want in this one, Pete?
How much for the top 4 highest scoring players are all Kansas City Chiefs?
I think, you know what? In the spirit of the niceness we've had here, I'll give it. If you go 5, I'll give it to you.
Okay. So I basically am going to need, 5 is fair because I'm going to need a Pringle or Hardman or Chiefs defense to outscore a Deontay, Najee, and Big Ben. So, all right, I'll roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could see a very easy 4, which is the issue. Like, it could be very easily Darrell, Hill, Mahomes, Kelsey. The defense or Pringle or whatever is the one that makes it tough. But I think it's still a pretty good bet for you. Monday Nighter, Arizona, 22.8 implied points. Rams, 26.8 implied points. Final ride or die pick for Super Wildcard weekend. Pete, what do you want? Also, Showdown Captain, I guess you could pick too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm gonna try to do a showdown cram for all 3 of the night games for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because they're putting pretty big prize pools up for the night one. So yeah, let's go our typical showdown captain for this. And normally I cheat a little bit. I run the sims ahead of time. I am flying blind on this one right now. Do you want to do a gentleman's agreement to throw out Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me go. Wait, no, fuck. I keep going the wrong way. Here we go. All right, there's my hand. There. Boom, boom, pump. Yeah, bro fist. Okay, so no Cooper Kupp, showdown captain. Besides that,
all right, no Cooper Kupp. I wonder too if they've already set the salaries with the Chase Edmonds stuff. That said, I will say Christian Kirk.
Okay, interesting one. Let's actually, I'm gonna see if DK had, because they always put that last showdown out late. They did put out the salaries for Rams Niners. So let's see where they are. Edmonds is at, just so you're aware, 7,500. So that seems like a little bit of a discount.
Okay, they probably priced those guys similarly.
Oh, yeah. Connor's 14-1. Oh no, that's his captain. Never mind. Okay, he's 9,400. So pretty big discrepancy there. That sounds like they thought Connor was going to play.
Yeah, I actually did just run the Sims, and apparently we need to toss out Chase Edmonds too.
Okay.
He's appearing in 34%. I haven't seen a non-quarterback up that high in a long time.
I don't think you need to throw him out. Like, you made the pick, you got there before me. I didn't fight against it. I'll still give it to you.
I said.
Oh, because you took Kirk. Yeah, I'll take Chase Edmonds then.
That's how you reward my honesty.
Yeah, I think that's how the game works, is it not?
Then give me Kupp. I get Kupp if you're taking Edmonds.
No, because they're not really equitable plays.
Yes, they are.
Kupp's a monster. Kupp's been over like 30 fantasy points.
No, but salary adjusted. We're talking about the win, not who scores the most points. It's
I know
in the winning lineup, which salary comes into play. He costs almost 3 times as much as Chase Edmonds. It's going to be much easier for Chase Edmonds to end up as the winning captain.
Well, not in terms of raw points. It'll be easier for Kupp in terms of raw points, easier for Edmonds in terms of lineup construction.
Right, but lineup construction matters.
Raw points matter too.
If you're taking Edmonds, I get Kupp, or we throw out Edmonds and Kupp. I will not stand for this. You choose your poison.
You know what? Fine. I'll take Edmonds and you can have Kupp.
Thank you.
All right, that's fucking. And
God
what
bless
does a gentleman's
America.
agreement even mean? What does a bro fist across
It
screens
means
even mean?
nothing. The second something is on the line that's important, the real character comes out.
Ivan in the chat saying, "Nice picks, Max." Thank you, Ivan. I think I landed on it earnestly, and I deserve every bit of Chase Edmonds success I get.
Fine. Fine.
All right, those are the ride or die picks for the week, and now we got to give our the Owners Club pack away, Pete. And if you can, explain the Owners Club to everybody else out there, because I will say your little sales pitch, as I mentioned yesterday, with just talking about it off the air with you and Davis, I was intrigued.
Yeah, why don't I maybe I will how about I'll open a pack right now just to show people
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
what it looks like here. So for those of you guys who haven't seen, so the Owners Club, they're like a NFT meets DFS platform, and they've rolled out this really cool playoff best ball contest. And there's basically 3 steps to it. There is buying a pack. And within that pack, there are 20 cards of various position groups of teams that are in the playoffs. And it's completely randomized. So you might get 5 quarterbacks, you might get, 4 defenses, but there's enough to submit a starting lineup of 12 spots. So 8 of your spots are not used. And then you mint that lineup after you choose what you want from your pack. And then that lineup now has 2 potential ways to make money. One, it can just be in the contest, which it will be entered in once you mint it, but there will also be a marketplace. So theoretically, if you have this incredible lineup going and say maybe you're a little more risk averse, you could sell that lineup and kind of cash out on your EV, or you could let it ride and try to get one of the prizes. They actually just passed a $100,000 prize pool. There's no rake in this contest either. All the money is going back into the prize pool. So it's a pretty fun format right now. And I highly recommend checking it out.
So Mark in the chat saying CEH is out Sunday, just announced. I guess we got that news early, Pete. We got our working our little lines here, our league connections to get that news earlier in the show.
Kyle's saying why this best ball thing requires blockchain, because there is no way to exchange ownership over a best ball lineup otherwise. Like, imagine if you had a team you drafted on Underdog or DraftKings and you wanted to sell it to me. There would be no way with actual proof of ownership and transferring the rights that you would be able to do that. So that's what makes it fun. And also, like, I do think sites could come up with stuff like this, but we haven't seen, like if DraftKings released something where you could open a pack and then that's your lineup. But that's what I think is fun, is that I've never seen anyone attempt it like this. So I will show you guys here. I just need to wait a second for the pack to show up.
Some of the MVP cases are coming in too. Joshua Marino, and he put his in quotes too. So I guess to really make clear that he wasn't being genuine. Man, there was just something special about this episode. You guys really killed it. Mike saying, what a splendid show this is. And then Iceman wants to be taken out of the running because he's in the hospital and he's not going to be back at his computer. So that's,
as I'm getting this pulled up, like how are we deciding on this?
I think it's just what's in our hearts. Like, I'll offer somebody up and you could say, do they feel like an MVP to you or not?
All right. This is so subjective.
It's good. So is MVP voting.
No, I know. I'm just worried. I think you're going to have to decide. This was your idea. You're going to have to decide your chat.
Okay,
MVP.
That's fine. I'll decide. Look, I'll be the arbiter. It doesn't mean I love anybody less. Doesn't mean I love anybody more. It's just about picking the right MVP.
That's all that matters.
Exactly.
All right, there's a slight delay on getting this into my account, so I'm just here, but I will pull this up.
And also, part of this too, like, and Kyle, I think asking a fair question, but part of the reason, like, there is value to you guys of, the NFT world, and when sites like this do things like this, that DraftKings isn't doing. Like, DraftKings is just cashing in right now, and they're kind of shitty NFTs where they have a player likeness, and they're, and people have made money on that, so I'm not gonna be mad at it. But ultimately, that's sort of the evolution of all this stuff. And Pete, you can correct me because you know this stuff much better than I do. But like the NFT things, like the whole point is, and tying things to blockchain means you could just monetize a million different things in different ways than you ever have historically. And that's why DraftKings might be afraid of doing it. But like long term, that's probably where they end up going.
Well, the reason I think it's really fun is, like, we all like opening packs. If you've done the Top Shot stuff, the pack opening experience is fun. And we all like drafting best ball teams. That's very fun too. And this literally merges those two things. You get the pack lotto element when you open the pack. Did I get the KC stack? Did I get the Buffalo stack? But then you also get game theory with setting your lineup, aka drafting your team, trying to build a team that you think logically makes sense, getting your Super Bowl matchups lined up. And then you actually then throw it into the best ball arena and can compete for prizes. So I just love how it's, pairing two things that we all love with NFTs and fantasy into a seamless thing. But man, there's a delay on getting these packs into my account right now. And I was such a fiend that I had already ripped all of mine, and the two I just bought have not showed up. So I don't know how long you want to vamp here. Maybe we should choose chat MVP, and then we can close out with this draft.
All right, we could do that way. So let's see. Russia saying, so I can win one of these. You potentially can, Russia, though I'm not sure you're my personal MVP. Joshua, I feel like you've done a good job as well. Ivan Black saying you could sell these if you have a sweat instead of taking the chance of not cashing. So it is like a bit of a cashing your bet in, or the options you get on a normal sports book as well. FF Doom is late today. Yeah, he would have been in the running for an MVP, and normally an MVP candidate season long. Paul's got a heart out at 343. Ooh. He's an MVP contender too.
I did get my my packs to show here now too.
Okay, there we go. So
you can build some more drama.
Show a pack here, and then we'll drum roll, and I'll make my pick.
Yeah, so I do have the link down below to get packs. They are $20 a pop. I will open this pack here. And now the real diabolical thing. So because there is 20 moments, I've been impatient and I've been revealing all Spags. I will let you decide. Do you want me to reveal all, or do you want me to go one by one?
I think let's reveal all for the sake of time.
Yeah.
No, I do like going one by one generally. Even with Top Shot, I started switching over a little bit. Also, it's interesting too that they don't have the likenesses, but that's how you know you're getting real, you're getting something real here, not a consumerized version of the product.
Yeah, and also not getting sued by the NFL. So this is an interesting pack. This one's going to be, I think this is a tough build, but I think we're up for the challenge here. So, we do obviously have Buffalo QB. We're going to do that. I believe, is this our only other QB? I think we're an only 2 QB lineup. So this is super flex Spags. So basically our starting lineup, it, has 3, 6, 9, 12. And it is super flex. And so then we have to at least have a running back, a wide receiver, tight end, DST. So we do have to build out the lineup. Generally, I've been trying to get 3 quarterbacks in just for super flex and to kind of cover that extra spot. But we only have 2 to work with here. So that's going to make it a little tricky. I will probably, and we don't have anything to stack San Francisco with. So that is not ideal either.
So do does Green Bay wide receiver represent an actual wide receiver, or just the wide receiver performance of the team?
It represents, you get the points for all Green Bay wide receivers.
Got it. Okay. And
so that's kind of what's nice about Tampa Bay running back. It's yeah, ideally it's Leonard Fournette, but even if it's not, you're still getting those points. And it's also why, for split backfields, it's so nice. You don't have to worry about Zeke or Pollard. You're going to just get all of the points from there. So I'm trying to put together this lineup here. I will do Tampa Bay tight end and running back because those are nice. And those kind of fit alongside nicely with Green Bay wide receiver and DST, basically cobbling together kind of the best positional groups for those 2 NFC teams that could go far. I will definitely use KC tight end. Sometimes when you don't get a pack with a lot of stacks, you're basically just trying to get in as many projected points as you can. So I'm going to throw in Dallas wide receiver. I'll play 2 Tennessee, the DST, and the running back. And now what do I have left? I could go, I don't want to go 3 DSTs. I'm probably going to actually have to pull that back.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't mind Higbee in general, but not over a Kelsey or anything, or Gronk.
So one thing is we don't have, but we need Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to probably get rid of Tennessee DST. And honestly, the highest upside thing probably here is to play a Las Vegas upset. Las Vegas wide receiver and Las Vegas running back, because we have no Bengals either.
I think that's actually interesting for DFS too. On the Osmo show I did earlier, I thought playing Josh Jacobs and not playing Joe Mixon is an interesting build because whether the Bengals win or lose, it just sort of means that the ball's out of their hands a little bit more. And
then the only other thing, we do have a Los Angeles DST, but I just don't get excited about Rams tight end. So to me, I think this is probably the best build here.
Yeah, I support it. I don't see any, I don't need Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith in my life.
So then this pops up. You guys can't see the pop-up just the way the Chrome tab share is working, but with your MetaMask, and when you buy a pack, so this happens on the Polygon network. Gas fees on the Ethereum network are outrageous. Like literally just if I wanted to send Spags an Ethereum, which I would never do, I would have to pay, $25-$30 as a transaction fee. This happens on Polygon. Their internal token is called Matic, and it's really, really cheap. And so part of the pack, when you buy a pack, they actually drop some Matic into your account for you. So you don't even have to worry about going to buy that. So I'm hitting confirm on this. And now this lineup is minting. The other thing about this, if you do a bunch of drafts and you kind of want to wait and see how your exposures line up and you want to break ties, like, oh man, I have a bunch of Dallas DST, I'm going to use the other ones here. You can save for later and then wait to mint them tomorrow. I just know that I'm going to be really busy, so I'm minting them right away. But you can theoretically save the lineups, kind of review your exposures, and then go back and mint them when you're ready.
What's the pricing for whatever the best lineup is?
So the prize pool is going to change because it's still getting added. They did 50,000 guaranteed, and I think they already said the prize pool is well over 100,000 now at 5,000 at $20 a pop. So I think they will be releasing those details soon on what the final prize pool is.
Interesting. I mean, it's not the same as going into a tournament with overlay for DFS, but I do think going into a prize pool where you think it's going to be 50K and it ends up being double or triple or quadruple that, that's very unique and not something that exists right now in real DFS, or I wouldn't say real DFS, but the mainstream DFS.
For sure. All right, Spags, who are you choosing for this?
All right, so this is a tough one because I really think in my heart the MVP is going to be our guy Frankie. The issue is I don't want to be nepotistic here, and this would be if I'm if I'm a Lakers beat writer and I'm like LeBron's the MVP, but there's other guys you could point to. I do think that Joshua Marino today has stepped up. I don't think I've seen his name very often around here, but I think he's been a helpful contributor today, brought a positive attitude, a little bit of snarkiness too. So Joshua Marino, you are my chat MVP of this show. Step on down.
I like this suggestion. Josh has also flexed some knowledge of other shows within the Deposit Kingdom. He had a reference to DeFi Kingdoms, Jewel, another DeFi NFT project. So I appreciate the breadth and the energy and enthusiasm of Joshua's comments today.
So how do I link him up with you to get the pack?
Yeah, you see, you did the thing to Frankie that I do when I try to guess who's winning on a wheel spin, and I say it before that. So that's on you, Spags.
Well, I wanted Frankie to know he's special to me too, because it was really tough. It was a tough one, but I would put Frankie in Willis. We pay a little bit, so I feel that's not quite the same. But the guys we really know, I probably wouldn't have given it to FF Doom either because he's a regular. And Frankie we've literally had on the show, so that just feels like.
How about this? How about I make this right? How about we're gonna get Josh? I don't know if we're on Twitter or in Discord. You just need to send me your. You need to first just make an account on TOC if you don't have that yet, and send me your TOC account. And also your Discord name, and then I'll get that over to TOC, and they'll drop $20 in your account to purchase a pack. But when I was trying to buy 2-pack Spags, or buy 1 pack, I bought 2, just trying to push it on through. So we're going to open this pack now to close things down. This is for Frankie. So Frankie can, I'll send the screenshot, and Frankie can decide how to set the lineup, and it'll just be on my account, but it will be Frankie's team.
All right. Unless it wins, then Frankie suddenly.
And then he better fly me out to hit up Divine.
You better fucking have a lot of toasted ravioli ready.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about here. All right, Frankie, this is you, pack 5794. We won't set the lineup on the show because that's going to be for you to do.
Also, P-Lab saying, I've lost all respect. Sorry, this is absolutely rigged for money or ratings. I'm not sure which. I won't be silent. Just saw it live. Sorry. I'm pretty sure P-Lab is doing a bit because I think I've seen that name in chat before, but I can tell you it's not rigged. I just pulled whoever I thought was doing a good job in chat.
Thank you. I'm a people pleaser here.
Yeah.
All right, so Frankie, this is your pack. We're revealing all Ooh, this looks nice. Frankie, this is a nice pack.
Yeah, Tampa QB.
Green Bay QB.
And RB. Oh, he's got a full Tampa stack. That's really live.
All right, Frankie, this is, I'm going to drop this in the Splash Play channel of the Discord. You tell me how to fill out this lineup and I will mint it for you. Oh, and that's the other beauty of this. I was saying how it would have to be on my account. Once I mint it, I will be able to send it over to Frankie, the minted lineup. So he will actually own this lineup after the fact.
Also, apparently P-Lap was a copy pasta from Aisha Curry. So that's my bad. I didn't catch that one right. I knew I'd seen P-Lap before, and I'm like, I don't think we could have pissed somebody off that much with this process.
Exactly.
Oh, historical anomalies. Imagine the possibilities. Yeah, Pete, you really did imagine the possibilities, and you brought them to real life. All the possibilities.
This is my request to Frankie. If this lineup wins the first place prize, I just want you to fly me down to St. Louis and take me out for like a 9-course meal at the restaurant.
At the Pasta Company, of course, the official sponsor of Welcome to the Family and other sort of. Honestly, we might at a certain point, Pete, we might be able to get actual sponsors. So cherish these moments now, Frankie, when we're giving you.
Yeah, because it's gonna start. You're gonna have to pony up for this.
Yeah, with all our Nana Pete bits, I'm sure we're gonna get those sponsors rolling today. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for chat, for bringing your A game, whether it was for the MVP votes or just for being a part of the show. We really do appreciate you guys hanging out. And again, we will be doing these shows still 3 days a week as long as we can. Monday, Thursday, Friday, 2:30 Eastern. So come hang out with us. Subscribe to the Pete's channel and subscribe to the Splash Play channel so you can see all the latest episodes, all the content we're putting out there. Follow at Peter Rivers, follow at Chris Spags, and follow at Splash Play Pod so you can know whatever's going on out there. Sometimes we do giveaways, sometimes we do guest spots on there. There's a lot going on at Splash Play Pod. Pete, your final plugs for everything. You got a lot going on the channel, it seems.
Yeah, just one more show tonight over on Ship Chasing, wrapping up all of our FFPC playoff challenge content. We're having Mike Leone and Drew Dinkmeyer from ETR on. It is going to get boozy. We're going to throw back some drinks and have some fun, kind of finalizing our thoughts for that contest tonight. So that'll be at 9:15 on the Ship Chasing channel.
Yeah, go check it out. Ship Chasing, a lot of fun to both watch and participate in. So go hang out with those guys. And then shout out Iceman too. Iceman, feel better. We hope we are back on the mend as soon as you possibly can. And we'll see you guys on Monday. So enjoy your weekends. Enjoy Super Wildcard weekend and good luck.